Welcome to the Line and Color Academy. In this video, I want to give you a brief introduction. I want to share with you how this website works, how the interface works, how you can navigate it, and how the course is designed and how I think it can help you build an art ritual, perfect your process, and master the craft of line and color. Let's get started. Okay, so first off, welcome. Welcome again. It's great to have you here. I'm super excited to be able to share with you all of the information and tutorials and advice that I've created and collected for this course. It's designed to help you master the craft of line and color and build an art ritual. And I really appreciate you taking the time and energy to look at this course and allow me to help you on that journey. So my name's Tim McBurney. You can check out my website, timmcburney.com, if you are for some reason here but you don't know who I am, or there are some other sections which I'll show you a little bit further, which will go into more detail about me and my journey and how I sort of learned to create art, because again, I'm mostly self-taught and I've had a lot of experience teaching people over the years. And again, I can explain all of that in some of those other videos. What I want to do here is really just dive into how to use this course so you can just get started as soon as possible. You're probably, again, looking at this sort of page. This is the video you're probably watching now, and really the interface is very simple. There is just a series of essentially kind of like folders that contain subfolders and videos. That's the best way to sort of think about it. You can also sort of think about it as like sort of a Netflix or like a modern streaming sort of site where basically we've just got collections of videos here and you can sort of check them out. So, you can sort of, click on a section. And again, there's going to be sort of subsections in there that have got collections of videos. So you click on one of those and you go in there and then you can kind of watch them, right? When you sort of do click on them, again, there's a couple of other sort of interesting interface sort of elements there. You can leave comments down here. You can go to the next sort of video or the previous video. You can mark it complete, but you can also do something really cool, which is star it, right? And if you star it, it kind of ends up in your favorite section, which you can access here, right? So if I sort of click back to the start, okay, there's this little sort of double arrow sort of icon there, and that basically brings out a side menu that kind of has all of the sort of sections linked to, right? So again, you can kind of see that there. It's got, this is my favorite ones, and that one that I just sort of starred is there. So if you want to come back to anything, because there's a lot of videos here, a lot of different sort of elements and different sort of things that you can look at. There's quite a lot of videos. You can access all of them and navigate that here from that little side menu. And again, you can favorite something if that's something you want to sort of come back to. So again, that's basically it. You just click on videos. If you're sitting here saying like, Tim, I really don't know, where I want to be. I don't really have my art sorted out yet. I don't really have a ritual. I'm not drawing. Just tell me what to do. If you're sort of at that stage and that you just want me to kind of be like, do this thing, do that thing, check out stage 1. All right, click there and just kind of click on the first thing and we'll try and get you up and started as quickly as possible, drawing, sketching, and building your art ritual, because that really is the most important fundamental thing. If you are sitting here kind of thinking, okay, I'm not quite sure which stage I'm at, again, there is a video here in the start here that is essentially about figuring out what stage you're at and how you can use the 5-stage system. There's a couple of other things that I want us to talk about as part of this course. Again, this is more of a resource course. It's not something where it's just, an 8-week course or there's a time limit on it. Again, I've designed it so that you can be working on this sort of part-time or full-time, you can spend 16 hours a day on this, just blast it all the time and, get through all the material and sort of utilize it in whatever way you want. Or if you just want to chip away at it, maybe watch like, one video, every couple of days and work on some of your work and take on some of the advice I've got, then that is a really good option too. It really is up to you, the pace that you go. It's not designed to be sort of finished in a particular time. The other thing is that, like this video, in many cases, what I'm doing is giving you a few visual cues, a few notes, but the majority of the non-tutorial sections of this course are kind of me talking, right? And often I have a few things here, but that's I've done it that way for a number of reasons. One, it means I don't need to do my hair and get the lighting sort of fancy in my studio. I can really focus on just what I'm saying. And you don't have to waste your time, again, looking at, how the lighting is in my studio and all that kind of stuff. You can be drawing, right? So I've designed this course to a certain degree so that the non-tutorial stuff where, you don't actually have to be looking at what I'm doing in Photoshop second by second, you can just kind of chill out, right? Because as you probably know, if you've listened to most of the stuff I do, I have a more relaxed, laid back teaching style. I do these videos and it's essentially a one take, right? I'm not editing, I'm not doing jump cuts, I'm not trying to make it a fancy YouTube video where it's kind of, all done in 15 minutes and, there's all this sort of animated stuff coming at you. It's just you and me sitting down and having a chat about art and how I think you can improve and how I think you can think about your techniques and your systems and your process. And I've sort of designed it that way so that you can be sketching and drawing and potentially in some of the later stages, working on your art at the same time as we kind of sit down and have these chats, right? You can think about it as we kind of, again, sitting down and sort of chatting about art, and I'm here kind of when you need that advice. So again, keep that in mind, right? In many cases, I feel like, you'll probably have a better time if you're just kind of sitting around there and you've got some drawing and you can kind of sketch around and, listen to what I've got to say. So that really is it. The main core and the spine of this course is the 5-stage sort of illustrator's journey section, and that really is where I think you should sort of start and look at. Click on the start here thing and sort of jump in and get started. That really is the thing that I feel like allows me to provide you with a lot of value and a lot of really targeted advice, even though we're not in the same room. It's the best way that I can sort of think of being able to give you targeted advice that I think is going to be relevant to where you're at without sort of really knowing exactly where you're at, right? So really look at that and understand sort of how that's meant to help you. Again, the beginning of that is in the sort of start here section. I do want to quickly just sort of talk through these other sections just so you have an understanding of, where they're meant to be. Again, none of these are meant to be viewed in a linear fashion. Although part of stage 1 is that sort of if you haven't watched this mini illustration workshop, it gives you a really good idea of, again, some information on my journey and my general ethos about illustration and improving and all of those things. So this is a free mini illustration workshop that I sort of created to help promote this course and give sort of free advice to people. And again, you might have sort of watched this, and in which case, again, you probably already know all this and you don't need to watch it again. But I put it here just so you don't need to go find it somewhere else if you ever want to come check it out. But again, if you need a bit more information about who I am and my journey and generally sort of, how I think about these things, check out this mini illustration workshop. It's quite a simple, condensed, relatively speaking, although again, as I say, my general style is fairly uncondensed and laid back, but you'll be able to get a general feel for kind of how I view all of these things just by sort of watching that simple mini illustration workshop, and that's why it's there. Here we've got the simple, reliable process, and this really is a part of stage 1. This is a part of stage 2, where we really focus on how to get those basic sort of techniques and sort of craft aspects sorted and mastered, right? And again, that's probably a 10-hour sort of tutorial over like quite a large number of small videos that you can kind of consume little bit by little bit, and hopefully, again, try and master a basic technique. So if you're starting out, that'll probably be something you can sort of look at soon. You can totally check this out at any time. You don't have to wait till you get to the stage or anything like that. I'm assuming you're a grown adult, or you're emotionally at least a grown adult, and you can figure out how you want to use this stuff, on your own, and take the advice that I give for what it's worth. So again, keep in mind that's there, and that's what it's for, right? The basics. If you haven't really figured out how to, just create a simple line and color image before, or you want again to understand how I do it, this is where you go, right? And again, it'll get started and walks you through it progressively, step by step. This here is the advanced process, and this is the 22-hour real-time narrated tutorial where I take you through absolutely every single step and every single thought that I have, from before we even start thumbnailing right up to the point where I'm spending hours fiddling around with the colors at the end, right? Every single thing is here, but it is long, right? Again, it's a little bit sort of uncondensed, just me talking you through my process, but it's 100% real time, right? There's no sped up stuff here. Every single thing I do, every single thing, all the mistakes, every little bit, every single thing is there. So that might be something, again, you want to check out if you're sort of interested in that at this point in your sort of journey. And again, the next set of videos here are the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5 set of videos. And the idea is, again, as you see, once you sort of click on here, the idea is that you can kind of jump in there, and that'll sort of give you an intro and a couple of sort of videos that kind of talk you through the things that I think are really high value to focus on at that stage. And then there's a little outro video that talks about, again, things you could think about as you consider moving to the next stage and moving on to the next set of challenges. Again, you can watch them all at any point in time, totally up to you. It really is just about trying to get you to a focus point where you know what you need to work on, and you can reliably trust that, again, what I'm saying is just work on this stuff. Don't worry about the other stuff, right? It's all cool. What we're working on now is going to be super high value and super worthwhile, and we'll deal with all the other stuff later. That really is the key. So try and get to that point. That's what we're trying to answer with the stages. I also have the tutorial collection, right? Within there's a whole bunch of different tutorials, and I'll be adding to that over the months and years that come, and we'll try and build that out into a really solid set of videos that kind of go over, again, the different levels of complexity, right? So again, if you're sort of like, how do I do an image in like an hour? I'm like, oh, here's how I sort of make stuff a bit sketchier, a bit quicker, right? If we want to, again, do something, that takes like 10 hours or something, this sort of shows you some different options, different techniques, different little things that I do. This here is the step-by-step guide that, again, is sort of basically me taking a lot of the key takeaways from the advanced process tutorial. And I've kind of just made a collection of smaller videos that you can watch if you kind of have looked at the process videos, but you are maybe tackling a much more complicated image yourself. Maybe the first few times you really try and do like a big complicated image that's going to take you like 30 hours or 40 hours to do. Often it can be really challenging because you don't really know when to move on to the next stage, what to think about. So I've just created a series of videos in there that are kind of like, again, if you want to start the construction phase, just look at that video and I'll sort of say, hey, you're starting the construction phase, you finished your thumbnail, here's what you really need to focus on while you're doing this next stage of your process. Next up here, I've got the thumbnail and composition masterclass. And again, this is just a series of videos that talk you through my thoughts on how you can create better images through thumbnailing, and again, my thoughts on composition and the rules of composition and how that sort of plays into what we're doing with line and color. Lastly, I've got the theory and ideas section, which again is basically just a collection of videos that are very similar to this, right? It's basically me just kind of talking and chatting with you and giving you my thoughts on a particular subject, right? So, one of the things that people often sort of ask about is kind of, maybe they're struggling with motivation and inspiration, and, how you basically find your muse, right? How do you sort of stay inspired? So, I have a video there that is sort of about finding your muse and staying motivated and staying inspired. And there's a range of other sort of things there. And again, you can kind of check those out when you want. And sometimes I reference them, when we're sort of in one of these stages. I say, hey, if you want to know more about that, I actually have a video on that, right? I have a video in there about, how I think perspective is often used in the real world, and we look at a range of artists and sort of look at, whether they're using 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective, and how much you actually need to use, and how much, to actually use it in the real world do you need to learn, etc., etc., etc. So lots and lots of ideas there. So that's basically it. Again, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I think you should jump in and get started. And again, if you're not sketching, if you're not drawing, if you're not doing that right now, crack out the sketchbook, get it happening. And I'll see you in the next video. Good luck.